Have you ever felt like the more you learn about low tox living or non-toxic living, the more overwhelmed you feel? It's really common. And I don't think it's because people need more information. I think it's because there's so much information out there and people don't know what to do with that information. And then on top of all the information, there's this pressure in the non-toxic space that we have to do everything right now and we have to do it all perfectly or it's not worth it. And then there is a message that's being conveyed, whether intentionally or unintentionally, that everything is equally important. And that's just not the case. I think what happens is people get bombarded by these messages and they end up in one of two camps. The first camp I call the all-in camp. That's where you are gung ho. You're going to swap everything. You're going to remove all your toxic products. You're going to replace everything. You're going to do all the things and you're going to do them now. That can sometimes lead to burnout because it's really not sustainable. Then it leads to guilt and it can lead to self-doubt. Then there's the other extreme, which is the everything's toxic anyway. So, like, what's the point camp? And that's where you feel like every choice you make is wrong. You get information and you make a swap, and then somebody tells you that information was wrong, and now you think you've made the wrong swap. You feel like nothing you do is going to make a difference anyway. And so you just say, why bother? You give up before you even really start. And that can lead to guilt and fear. I know these extremes because I honestly lived them. I've been there. My experience about 10 years ago, I went all in. I had gotten a medical diagnosis that was really scary. And I literally threw away every product in my house that had the word fragrance on the label. Not even kidding. I thought I had to do it all right away. I thought I had to do it all right. And it wasn't sustainable. I mean, I threw away all my products with fragrance on the label. Imagine. I mean, that was like my whole bathroom. And I started to burn out like pretty quickly because now you have to replace all those products you just threw out. And so I almost swung to the other direction of like, why bother? This is so hard. This is so much. But going through that experience is what gave me the clarity to realize there's a different way to look at this. Through that experience, I learned that neither extreme works. Doing everything all at once is not sustainable. But doing nothing isn't going to get you anywhere either. So the answer is like in the middle. And what that middle looks like to me is learning how to prioritize, realizing that not every decision deserves the same amount of attention, and realizing that not every swap has the same impact. It involves knowing what makes sense for one person might not make sense for another person, and that's okay. Knowing your budget matters, choosing swaps that are sustainable for you, and realizing your starting point matters. Like, don't compare your day one to somebody else's day 201. It's going to look completely different. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed by this non-toxic journey or this low-tox journey, I get it. If you've ever gone all in and tried to fix everything at once and almost burned out like I did, or if you're on the other end of the spectrum and you're starting to wonder, does it even matter? Can I make a difference? You're not alone. And the answer is yes, you can make a difference. And no, you don't have to do it all at once. The key to reducing the overwhelm is focusing on this. What is my next best swap or step? What's going to give me the best bang for my buck? And then focus on that. Do that for a while. Let that become second nature. Let that become natural. And let that be good enough for now. And then when you've done that and you're comfortable with it, decide what your next best step is. That's how we make progress without becoming overwhelmed. One small step at a time. Because the goal isn't to be perfect, and it isn't to go all in and get rid of everything all at once. The goal is to be toxin-free where it counts. And you can do that one simple swap at a time.